So you know this pastime, that Krishna was a naughty boy, and that was not uncommon, that he would do something and in order to encourage his mother to discipline him. And so she used a rope that is generally used for tying cows, and she tied it around Krishna's waist and then tied it to a mortar, which was a heavy object, and then Krishna pulled the mortar in between two trees. They were twin Arjun trees, which were uprooted. I mean, these were huge trees that he uprooted. Although he was just a little boy, he still had all strength, all power, all opulence, all knowledge, all beauty, all wealth, all of those opulences in full. And from those two trees, from the roots of the trees, emerged two blazing personalities. And that's another story. But this is just to glorify Krishna and this pastime when he was bound by his mother. And we understand that Krishna is bound by the love of his devotees. That's the meaning of this song. Okay. Namam Ishvaram Satchidanandarupam Vasat Kondalam Gokule Vrajamanam. Everyone. Yashoda Viyolukalattavamanam Param Rishtam Atyan Tato Drupya Gopya. Yashoda Viyolukalattavamanam Param Rishtam Atyan Tato Rudanta Mohornetra Yugmam Richantam Karam Bhoja Yugmena Satanka Netram. Rudanta Mohornetra Yugmam Richantam Karam Bhoja Yugmena Satanka Netram. Muho Shvasa Kampa Trilekanka Kanta Spita Graiva Damodaram Bhakti Badham. Muho Shvasa Kampa Trilekanka Kanta Svalila bir Ananda Kunde Swagosham Nimajantam Akyapayantam Iti Svalila Ananda Akyapayantam Adiyeshita Keshu Bhaktajitatvam Punak Prematastam Shatavritti Vande. Punak Prematastam Keshu Bhaktajitatvam Punak Prematastam Deva Moksham Namokshavadimva Lachanyam Vineham Varesharapiha Varam Deva Moksham Namokshavadimva Lachanyam Vineham Varesharapiha Idam Teva Purnata Gopalabalam Sada Bimanasya Virastam Kimanyai Idam Teva Purnata Gopalabalam Sada Bimanasya Virastam Kimanyai Idam te mukam bojam atyanta nilai Vitam kuntalai snigdharaktaischa gopya Idam te mukam bojam atyanta nilai Kuntalai snigdharaktaischa gopya Muhushumbitam bimboraptadarame Manasya viraktam alam lakshalabai Muhushumbitam bimboraptadarame Alam lakshalabai Namo Deva Damodarananda Vishnu Rashida Prabodhuka Jalabdi Magnam Namo Deva Damodarananda Vishnu Drishti Vrishyati Vinam Bhatanu Vihane Shamam Agyam Edyakshi Drishya Kripa Drishti Vrishyati Vinam Bhatanu Vihane Shamam Agyam Edyakshi Drishya Vedatmajo Badham Murtyai Vayavat Tvaya Moshito Bhakti Bhajo Shrito Cham Tata prema bhaktim swakam me priyachta Namokshe graho mesti damodareha Tata prema bhaktim swakam me priyachta Namokshe graho mesti damodareha Namaste stu damne sporadipti damne Tvadiyo darayata vishvasya damne Namaste stu damne sporadipti damne Tvadiyo darayata vishvasya damne Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Nantovilaya Devaya Tubhyam Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A beautiful song, and this is the translation. So I'll read the first verse and then we can go around. To the Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge, and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokul, who, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter, and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her, who ran after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances.
Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with 3 lines like a corn shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, whose belly is bound not with ropes, but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances.
By such childhood pastimes as his, he's drowning the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodara hundreds and hundreds of times.
O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Bala Gopala in Vrindavana may ever be manifest in my heart. For what is the use to me of any other boon besides this?
O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me.
O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisance to you, O Damodara, O Ananta, O Vishnu, Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me by showering your grace of mercy upon me. Deliver this poor, ignorant fool who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows and become visible to my eyes.
Lord Damodara, just at the two sons of Kuvera, Magriva and Nalaguvana, when delivered from the curse of Narada and made into great devotees by you, in you from as a baby, fight with the ropes to the wooden grinding mortar in the same way. Please give to me your own prema bhakti. I only long for this and have desire for any kind of liberation.
O Lord Damodara, I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent rope which binds your belly. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to you, your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord, who displays unlimited pastimes.
So how did you like that song? Damodarastakam. It's beautiful, beautiful song. And in this song we are remembering this pastime where Krishna as a small child was being chased by his mother, Mother Yashoda, with a whipping stick, trying to catch up with him, but Krishna would not let her get that close. And so she was trying finally to grab him and tie him up, and whenever she would try to make the knot, the rope was 2 inches too short. and then she would try in another way, and it was still just a little bit too short to actually make the knot and tie him up, and then he made it long enough so that she could get exactly the knot that she wanted. And it was not a very difficult knot. So then she tied him to this grinding mortar, and as the song describes, he pulled that between two trees in the courtyard of the home of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj was king of Vrindavan and actually very, very wealthy. In fact, it is said that he owned 900,000 cows. That's a lot of cows. I mean, if I had one cow, I would go bankrupt trying to feed that one cow. But he had tremendous wealth, and that's great, because wealth is not measured in terms of the fiat currency of how many dollars you have in the bank, but do you have land? Do you own cows? Do you have grains growing in the field? Like that. And of course, the greatest wealth is to have the association of devotees of Krishna. If you have that, then you have the guarantee of going back to Godhead. And none of the material wealth that you have seen in this world compares with the opulence of Krishna's abode. So these two personalities, Nalakuvara and Manigriva, were sons of the treasurer of the demigods, Kuvera. And they were very irresponsible. Even though their father had great responsibility, they were just taking it easy and enjoying all kinds of material pleasures. So they were cursed because they were not following in the footsteps of their great father. Prabhupada was once describing the devotees in his movement, and he said, these devotees are all sons of great fathers. So much is expected of you to follow in the line. And so these two demigods, they were not following that standard, and they were cursed. And what was the curse? Because of their lusty desires, they were cursed to be born in the form of trees, to have that body of a tree, so that they would stand outdoors without any protection, without any shelter, for a very, very long time. That was a punishment. But when there is a curse which is coming from a great saintly person, or the personality of Godhead himself, it's turned around so that it's actually a blessing. So what was the blessing? The curse was, you will stand as trees. But the blessing is, you will be delivered by the personality of Godhead as Lord Damodar. And what happened was, the trees were uprooted, these great personalities came out, and Krishna, by his grace, allowed them to assume once again their position as sons of Kuvera, and to ultimately achieve liberation. So even in the pastimes of Krishna that we read about in our Krishna book, which is the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that Krishna has killed so many demons. And even the demons would come into Vrindavan, and Krishna would handle them with ease. And he killed the powerful demon Kamsa and so many other demons. When that happens, the demon gets liberation. When he killed Sushupal with the Sudarshan Chakra, everyone saw the spirit soul enter into Krishna's body. So that's another kind of liberation. But it's not the liberation that devotees seek. We are simply interested in rendering devotional service to Krishna, and that is liberation enough. But in the spiritual world, devotees attain automatically to the spiritual world upon leaving this body, unless they require some further training And they get that by going to that place that where Krishna's pastimes are unfolding, somewhere in the material world. But the idea is that the devotee is fully qualified to go back to Godhead, back to the spiritual world, because he is fully surrendered to the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So those great devotees that are eternally liberated can also accompany Krishna when he goes to some other material world, material universe, to demonstrate his pastimes, loving pastimes with his devotees. You know, this is one of the qualities that distinguishes Krishna from Lord Vishnu and from any other demigods or great souls or powerful personalities, and that is that he is surrounded by his intimate, confidential devotees in loving exchange. They're all engaged in these wonderful, intimate, confidential pastimes. Now, you don't see that even in the Vaikunthas with Lord Vishnu. This is very specific to Lord Krishna. What else is special about Lord Krishna is that he is playing upon his flute, which attracts the hearts of all living beings. Does Lord Vishnu play upon a flute that attracts the hearts of all living beings? Who said no? That is the correct answer. The answer is no, he does not. So even though Lord Vishnu has the power to create unlimited universes, I think you might have seen that in the depicted in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that all these universes are coming out of the form of Vishnu with his breathing, with his exhaling. And then when it is time to dissolve that material creation, he inhales and those material universes re-enter into his body along with all of the souls that are still in the conditioned state. Prabhupada once said that's why Mahavishnu has a bluish hue, because all of those conditioned souls have entered back into his body. So we are not destined to re-enter into the body of Mahavishnu and then wait for the next exhalation, for the next creation of unlimited universes. Our destiny as devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, serving him under the direction of bona fide Vaishnava Guru, spiritual master, is that we will attain his lotus feet and enter into his pastimes in the spiritual world at the end of this lifetime. So is that special or what? That is very extraordinary. Very, very extraordinary. Devotees are the rarest type of individual. And if you are in a position to have that association, then you are considered most fortunate. In the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, it is said that Lord Chaitanya was asked, what is the most painful experience? And his answer was to be devoid of the association of Krishna's devotees. And then he said, I would rather be in a cage surrounded by fire, or I would rather embrace an alligator than to be without their association. So that is very advanced to be feeling that closely tied to the devotees of the Lord and to be always hoping to have their association. So it is the beginning of faith. Srila Prabhupada points out, Shraddha Shabdhe Vishvasakahe Sujita Nishtaya Krishna Bhakti Koili Sarva Karma Kritahoy. That faith in Krishna begins with the association of Krishna's devotees. Prabhupada once said that the proof that God exists is that his devotee exists and walks amongst us in this world. That is proof enough that he exists. So the pure devotee, spiritual master, is not considered to be a resident of the material world, but he is a resident of Vaikuntha Loka, the spiritual world. And he walks among us, but he is never an ordinary person, or she, for that matter. Great devotees, it's not really a consideration, male or female, because they are not in the bodily concept, nor are those who surrender to them. So it is like Prabhupada points out, electricity is in the air, but you cannot see it. But the proof that it's there is when it manifests as electric light. So similarly, you may not be able to see Krishna, but not being able to see him does not mean that you should not serve him. You can still serve Krishna. How? Under the direction of his representative. If you ever go into a travel agency, you'll see so many brochures. Why don't you go to this country? Why don't you go to Bora Bora? Or why don't you take a trip on this cruise ship and go to this destination? And so there's so much advertising going on to get people to want to travel. So who is it that is making that propaganda, that advertisement on behalf of Krishna and his abode? It's Krishna's pure devotee. And he's passing out the tickets very liberally. If you want to take that journey, if you want to go on that trip and go to that supreme abode, just hop on this train, which is called the Sankirtan Express, and you will end up at your destination. You will get there, and there's no hard work to perform once you arrive. Prabhupada, he was observing one of his disciples carrying his suitcases. I carried one of his bags. It was so heavy I couldn't believe it. And he said to this disciple, when he put the bag down, and he felt great relief from having put that burden aside, and then he offered obeisances, and Prabhupada slapped him on the back and said, in the spiritual world there's no hard work. So, so this is more advertising, you could say, that the spiritual master is encouraging us at every moment to have faith that we have a destination which is guaranteed, and we don't have to struggle to get to that destination, just as people in this material world are struggling hard for what Prabhupada calls it's a bitter struggle for a life of short duration, which means that in order to enjoy sense gratification, people are working very, very hard. And they're compared to, as Srila Prabhupada gave the comparison, a donkey that is carrying very heavy loads, working very hard, and then the compensation is that the donkey at the end of the day is allowed to eat grass on the side of the road, which is there whether he works or not. He can eat that grass. So Prabhupada said that this is how people are working so hard and not really getting ahead in the spiritual sense, maybe in the material sense. Maybe they're able to accumulate some wealth or some opportunities or some business connections, but our connection is something that is eternal, whereas anything that you achieve in material life is temporary, and at the end of this lifetime you have to give that up and go to your next destination, which is another place in the same material realm. So does that mean that devotees are very special and have special obligations and special opportunities to solve the problems of birth, death, disease, and old age? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think we should read a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. What is it? Jai Radha Madhava. You want to chant that? Okay. Okay, so we'll chant Jai Radha Madhava and then we'll read the Bhagavad Gita verse at your request. Any other requests?
It's not a request, it's a request.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Chandra Balaba Girivanadhari Gopi Chandra Balaba Girivanadhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Gopi Chandra Balaba Girivanadhari Gopi Chandra Balaba Girivanadhari Gopi Chandra Balaba Girivanadhari Gopi Chandra Balaba Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Bihari Radha Gopi Channa Ballabha Girivandhari Gopi Channa Ballabha Girivandhari Gopi Channa Ballabha Girivandhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Prabhupada always chanted that before giving class. And though devotees, nowadays we like to chant Hare Krishna mantra after chanting Jai Radha Madhava, but I'd never saw Prabhupada do that, but it's something that has been introduced. And I never see anything wrong with encouraging devotees to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, so it's fine. And now we'll chant the invocation for the Bhagavad Gita. We're doing a lot of chanting and a lot of Sanskrit, and this is all transcendental sound vibration, which means that it's very purifying, and it's preparing us to become accustomed to the atmosphere of Vaikuntha and the spiritual world, that this is where we are headed, and this is our preparation. So we chant Om Agyana Timanandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Amnilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishjam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svaparantikam Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Jita Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagadajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabudhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Nutamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. One more time. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam tadvigyanatam sagarum eva bigachat samitpani shochiyam balamanishtam. We offer obeisances to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He is the bona fide, authorized spiritual master of the Hare Krishna movement. Okay, this is a continuation from the last class that I was here for 2 weeks ago. Oh, this is beautiful. So this is chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita as it is, text 28. So I'll just read the Sanskrit and then the translation and the purport. Shubha Shubha Palar Evam Moksha Se Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upashyasi. Translation. In this way you will be freed from all reactions to good and evil deeds, and by this principle of renunciation you will be liberated and come to me. So we'll read the previous verse so that'll make more sense, which was, O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. In this way, you will be freed from all reactions to good and evil deeds, and by this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. And then the purport, written by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. One who acts in Krishna consciousness. Do you want to read the translation into Russian too? Or? Okay. You have. Okay. One who acts in Krishna consciousness under superior direction is called yukta. The technical term is yukta vairagya. This is further explained by Rupa Goswami as follows. Rupa Goswami says that as long as we are in this material world, we have to act. We cannot cease acting. Therefore, if actions are performed and the fruits are given to Krishna, then that is called yukta vairagya. Actually, situated in renunciation, such activities clear the mirror of the mind, and as the actor gradually makes progress in spiritual realization, he becomes completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, at the end, he becomes liberated, and this liberation is also specified. By this liberation, he does not become one with the Brahmajyoti, but rather enters into the planet of the Supreme Lord. It is clearly mentioned here, Mam Upashyasi. He comes to me, back home, back to Godhead. There are 5 different stages of liberation, and here it is specified that the devotee who has always lived his lifetime here under the direction of the Supreme Lord, as stated, has evolved to the point where he can, after quitting this body, go back to Godhead and engage directly in the association of the Supreme Lord.
Таким образом, ты освободишься из оков деятельности и ее благоприятных и неблагоприятных последствий. С умом сосредоточенным на мне, следуя этому принципу отречения, ты освободишься и придешь ко мне. Комментарий. Шрила Прабхупады. Тот, кто действует в сознании Кришны по указаниям свыше, называется юкта. Технический термин юкта вайраги. Подробнее Рупа Госвами объясняет это в своей Бхакти Расамрита Синду следующим образом. Что Рупа Госвами говорит, что пока мы находимся в этом материальном мире, мы вынуждены действовать и не можем прекратить это. Поэтому, если действия совершаются, но плоды достаются Кришне, это называется юкта вайраги. Поскольку такие действия поистине производятся в отречении, они очищают зеркало ума, и тот, кто так действует, постепенно продвигается по пути духовной реализации и полностью вручает себе верховной божественной личности. Поэтому в конце концов он освобождается, но это освобождение определенного типа. Освобождаясь таким образом, личность не сливается с Брахмаджоти, но достигает планеты Всевышнего Господа. Это ясно сказано здесь. Мам упашьяси. Он приходит ко мне, домой, назад к Богу. Существует 5 ступеней освобождения. Здесь особо подчеркивается, что бхакта, который в течение всей своей жизни в этом материальном мире действовал по повелению Всевышнего Господа, находится на такой ступени духовного развития, что после оставления этого тела он возвращается к Господу и вступает в непосредственное общение с Ним. Каждый, у кого нет иного интереса, кроме служения Господу, фактически является саньяси. Такой человек всегда думает о себе как о вечном слуге Господа, зависящем от его высшей воли. Поэтому, что бы он ни делал, он делает это во имя Господа. Какую бы деятельность он ни выполнял, он служит Господу. Он не интересуется кармической деятельностью или предписанными обязанностями, упоминающимися в Ведах. Для обычных людей выполнение предписанных Ведами обязанностей необходимо. Но чистый бхакта всецело занят служением Господу. И хотя может иногда показаться, что его действия противоречат предписаниям Вед, на самом деле это не так. Поэтому авторитетные вайшнавы говорят, что даже самый умный человек не может понять намерений и действий чистого бхакты. Это выражается словами «Манра вакья крия мудра вигеха на буджия». Буджхая. Человек постоянно занят, это из читания Чаритамриты, Мадхи 23:39. Человек постоянно занятый служением Господу, или же все свои мысли и намерения, подчиняющие служению Господу, уже полностью освобожден, и в будущем он непременно возвратится домой, назад к Богу. Он стоит выше любой материалистической критики, так же, как Кришна всегда находится выше всякой критики.
Okay. So Krishna is pointing out in this verse that if you follow these guidelines, then your life will be filled with good deeds. And one who has performed good deeds is never overcome by evil. It's stated in Bhagavad Gita. And at the end of your life, you will achieve liberation. There are different kinds of liberation offered to the devotees. We have what is called ekatva, which is impersonal liberation, merging into the Brahmajyoti. So many yogis, impersonalists, and even demons killed by Krishna achieved that result. But for devotees, one can achieve sarupya mukti, mukti meaning liberation, which means having the same bodily features as Krishna, like Uddhava. When Uddhava brought the message to the gopis in Vrindavan that Krishna sent from Mathura, when they saw him, they were thinking, is that Krishna? It really just looks like Krishna to us. But it was Uddhava. I think he's a cousin of Krishna's. But having attained this Sarupya Mukti, even the gopis, the most confidential servants of the Lord, were mistaking him for Krishna. So that is one kind of liberation. Of course, the message, if you're interested, that Uddhava brought, because the gopis were lamenting and thinking that Krishna has left us and he has gone to Mathura and he's spending time with those city girls and who knows what's going on and I don't know when he's coming back. And so they were very upset and feeling very morose and lonesome and abandoned, in fact. So Krishna sent them a message, and he sent it with Uddhava, who could be trusted because he's a liberated soul having attained Sarupya Mukti. And the message was, my dear gopis, please be assured that I have not left Vrindavan. I am always with you, and I am always present within your heart. So do not think that you are abandoned by me. So that was a very reassuring message. And Krishna is actually giving everyone who is his devotee that very message, that he never abandons his devotees, that he is always aware of their situation, and he is always encouraging us to go forward, to push on this movement from within our hearts and appreciating whatever service we render. And at the end of life, it'll be shown that such devotees are considered to be eternally liberated even while living in this world. We had one god sister. Did you get the
Yes,
links?
the information.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I sent you 2 links about a god sister of ours, a disciple of Prabhupada. Her name is Sharadiya. And Sharadiya was initiated, I believe it was 1967 in San Francisco. So that was 50 years ago. Very senior, very advanced. She was one of the ISKCON artists. She was sent by Srila Prabhupada after she married. She was one of the 3 couples that married in Boston. That was the first wedding ceremony in Boston performed in our movement. And she went with her husband, Vaikuntanath, to Trinidad and Tobago to open a center there. And wherever she would go, she would do paintings so that if they had to leave, the paintings would remain and she would be remembered. And she is still remembered for that. Her paintings are hanging in the Bhaktivedanta Manor in England and all over the United States, in many of the principal temples. In fact, she did a painting here in New York, which was the Ashtasaki, 8 principal gopis surrounding Lord Krishna. Krishna's playing on a flute. You might have seen that with the 8 gopis. And she donated that to the temple, the Brooklyn temple. She once asked me, because she was also painting for Prabhupada's books, and she asked me to be a hand model, because she had to paint the Shamantaka jewel in Krishna's hand. So she wanted my hand and took a photo of it so she could paint Krishna's hand with the jewel. So I was somehow involved in doing service to assist her, and she was very Krishna conscious, Prabhupada conscious, and she left her body. She went back to Godhead, left her body on Friday morning. Of course, in India that was Friday evening. I think the time difference is about 12 hours, so it was in the evening. And the particular celebration on that day that was being held in Vrindavan was called Sharadiya Rasayatra. Her name is Sharadiya. She left her body on that day. What are the chances? Unbelievable. And so this points to Srila Prabhupada's all-knowing nature, knowing past, present, future, knowing his disciples so thoroughly, and even knowing in advance when they would depart and naming them accordingly. This is astounding. I'm astounded by this, that Prabhupada had that insight to that extent. So anyway, that was just something that happened in the last two days, 2 or 3 days. I think that was on Thursday that happened. Oh. So all of the devotees who are fully surrendered, now what does that mean, fully surrendered? It means that you're accepting everything that is favorable for Krishna consciousness and rejecting what is not favorable, what is unfavorable for cultivating Krishna consciousness. It means always seeing the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead at work in your life, directing you at every moment. Understanding that Krishna is the supreme friend and is providing all of the necessities of life for all the living entities throughout the creation. This is another characteristic of being surrendered. and always feeling that Krishna will protect me in all circumstances. So if you have those feelings, you may be considered a liberated soul. And there are many liberated souls in this movement. And you can tell because they are always thinking of how to please Krishna, how to please the spiritual master, how to push forward this Krishna consciousness movement. So you should look for that, and also set the example of how a devotee acts in that way, on that level, according to that standard. And then you'll be in line with Srila Prabhupada's teachings and the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. In that previous verse, Yat kadosi yadasnasi, yaj juhosi dadasi yat, yat tapasosi konteya tat kurushramararpanam. Krishna is saying that if you want to attain the spiritual abode, the supreme abode, then in this lifetime, all you have to do is do everything as an offering to me. Offer the results of your work to me. Now, there are many incarnations of Krishna, but no other incarnation of Krishna says what Krishna says. That, for example, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattak sarvam pravartate iti matvajante mam buddha bhava samamvitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. What incarnation of Krishna says that? Only Krishna himself says that he is the source of all material and spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from me, Krishna says. So, therefore, if Krishna is the creator and proprietor of all worlds, why should we not offer everything to him? Because that means, if we are part and parcel of Krishna, that when Krishna is satisfied, we'll be automatically satisfied ourselves. So whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we offer in terms of austerities, sacrifice, that everything should be done as an offering to Krishna. And speaking of eating, eating is a very important aspect of the life of the devotee. Is it not? Wouldn't you say that? That's why you're bringing all those Simply Wonderfuls out on Harinam, because it's an impetus for devotional service. So what does Krishna say? He wants you to offer to him. What kind of foodstuffs? And so that you can honor the remnants of the offering of foodstuffs. What is his demand?
A leaf, a flower.
Oh, patanam pushpam palam toyam. That's also in this chapter. A leaf. If you offer to me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, a water, I will accept it. That means that there are many things that we cannot offer to Krishna because he would not accept it. See, that is where the devotee distinguishes himself or herself from all other so-called transcendentalists. That we only offer to Krishna what he has requested. Prabhupada once gave an example. He said, if I ask you to bring a glass of water and you're thinking, oh, milk is so much more full of nutritious elements and minerals and ingredients, let me bring Prabhupada a glass of milk. He'll really like that. But the instruction was, please bring me a glass of water. So we have to follow that instruction. And here Krishna is saying, Pataram pushpam palam toyam, offer to me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water. Prabhupada said if Krishna had asked for offering of meat products, animal products, then we wouldn't be vegetarian, because as devotees, whatever it is he requests, we will provide that. We will offer that to him and take the remnants. But of course, that's not what he requests. So we have to be careful, because Prabhupada was talking about disease and saying that there are three causes of illness, basically. Overeating, anxiety, and uncleanliness. So we have to be very careful. Do not, and he said, and the formula for good digestion is you fill your stomach half with foodstuffs, 1/4 with water, and leave 1/4 for air. And then you'll have proper digestion always. And just eat what is necessary to keep body and soul together. These are his instructions. And he even says that when someone attains the highest perfection of yoga, then eating, sleeping, mating, and defending are completely out of the picture. And Prabhupada, in his final months, practically hardly was eating anything at all. Maybe a piece of fruit. I saw Prabhupada arrive at the airport in Paris, and devotees had cooked at least 15 preparations that they put on a beautiful brass tray and presented it to him at the airport when he arrived. And he took one little piece of cantaloupe. I was watching so carefully. And the rest was maha, Prabhupada's remnants. And of course the devotees completely devoured every morsel of what was left on that plate. But he himself, and Prabhupada says that the spiritual master is satisfied just drinking water. He may be completely satisfied. But the devotees should have a sumptuous feast. So one level of realization is called anamoya, which means you realize the personality of Godhead in the form of foodstuffs. So, for devotees, Prabhupada said that prasadam is an impetus for devotional service. So, and he once said that, especially in reference to the Sunday feast, because Prabhupada introduced that very early on, and he cooked the whole feast, by the way, and then he cleaned up afterwards, washed all the pots himself after all the guests had left. But he said at the Sunday feast, devotees should eat up to the neck, and then they'll be waddling like ducks. There was one story of how Prabhupada was present with devotees honoring prasadam on either side of him, and one of the devotees started talking to Prabhupada, and the devotee next to him took his sweet ball from his plate. And the devotee said to Prabhupada, "Prabhupada, he just stole my sweet ball." And Prabhupada said, "Stealing prasadam is also transcendental." But he encouraged devotees to learn the skills, the art of cooking for Krishna. Just like he wanted all the devotees to learn the art of distributing his books and telling people about the Krishna consciousness movement and explaining the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. He wanted devotees to have all of these skills. Krishna himself had a spiritual master. Did you know that? Yes, you knew that. The spiritual master of Krishna was Sandipani Muni. And Krishna was instructed in all the 64 different arts and skills that he needed to learn from the spiritual master. So, what to speak of ourselves? There are so many things that Prabhupada taught us how to do, from, like I was saying, how to keep everything nice and clean, our environment, our clothes, our minds, our hearts. This is a cleansing process. And he said that we would be known for being revolutionary clean. That was his expression, revolutionary clean. And so devotees, I remember I was walking down the street after Harinam in my old neighborhood, and I was dressed just like this, and after Harinam, and a guy came out. It was, he had like a Hispanic accent, and he said, he tried to stop me. He said, "Oh, I know you. I've seen you before, and today you look so, you look so," and he couldn't get the words out. He couldn't describe, seeing a devotee. And I said, "I look so white?" He said, "You look so white." It was amazing. Being, clean, having clean cloth is an important thing. It makes an impression. So, like when we have our Harinam party, devotees really should think that they should dress for the occasion. Out in the material world, you have certain occasions. You got a black tie, or a tuxedo, or you got to wear a suit. You got to dress a certain way. It's a formal attire, evening gowns and everything. Harinam Sankirtan doesn't mean come as you are, really. We have a particular style of dress which reminds people of Krishna. Just like that man, you look so, I could have said transcendental, but he probably wouldn't understand the meaning of that. So I said, "Wow, you look so white, man." So we should look pressed, nicely attired, because we have to represent our line of spiritual masters, our culture, the Vedic culture, our movement, Hare Krishna movement. The devotees that go out into the public view are representing their line, their spiritual master. And not only to the public, but to the other devotees in the group. Right? If you see a devotee dressed like this, then that helps to remind you of Krishna. Doesn't it? Prabhupada was talking about ladies wearing a sari. He said they look so much more feminine when they're dressed with saris, wearing sari. And so he was encouraging, this is our Vedic culture. But here we are, we're in the Western world, and a lot of us we're working. You may not be able to wear a dhoti, if you're working on Wall Street, and or in some advertising office or accounting office, or if you're teaching in a school system. And there are so many places where they just will not allow you to not follow their dress code. They have a dress code, but we have a dress code. We also dress Krishna in a certain way, according to a transcendental dress code. And we dress Krishna and decorate him in a very opulent style. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is because in our present state, we are attracted to that opulence. It attracts our attention, our minds are drawn to it, and it helps to convince us that Krishna possesses all opulence as one of his characteristics. So, there's a lot that goes on a subtle plane. So we should be aware of these subtleties that when I was a young devotee in Paris, our temple president purchased rain jackets, raincoats. They were pretty long, actually, and they were transparent. He made sure they were transparent. And he said the reason is because we're all wearing saffron dhotis and kurtas, And if the people can see that through the raincoat, they'll be purified. They'll be purified to see just saffron, devotees wearing saffron. And so this is part of our presentation. We are presenting Krishna to the world. Krishna is all attractive. So devotees should also reflect that. Just like the Harinam party here in Brighton is very attractive. People are very impressed. They're always smiling, waving to us. Some people are, you can see them in the restaurants, or some of them are even chanting. People walking by are chanting because they want to be part of something greater than themselves. They want to be part of something that they feel will lead to their success in their lives. That is Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita, success is sure for the rigid practitioner. So if we follow these instructions, these guidelines, rigidly, carefully, with devotion, then success is sure. It's guaranteed. Guaranteed. Going back to Godhead. That's what Prabhupada says here. Back home, back to Godhead. It's guaranteed. And so Prabhupada used to say, in the spiritual world, because then ISKCON that was his creation. It was the conveyance by which this movement would spread throughout the world. That was Prabhupada's thinking. So he said we should not be without ISKCON thought, even for a moment. And that's the same thing that's mentioned here in the purport, that a devotee at every moment is thinking of how he can take part in spreading Krishna consciousness. It's like you're leading kirtan today. That was phenomenal. And you were spreading Krishna consciousness. And everybody else who also took a turn was boldly stepping out in front and leading kirtan and spreading Krishna consciousness. And leading the devotees. It's like an attack. And there are certain officers. We don't lead from the back. We lead from the front. That was Prabhupada's style. You lead from the front. So devotees, they follow in his footsteps. You get out in front and boldly declare it boldly, Arjuna. My devotee will never perish. So fearlessly. To do that, you have to be fearless. You can't be thinking, well, will people recognize me? What about my position in society? Or am I going to be ridiculed? Or maybe people are going to throw things. And I'm not talking about throwing money either. But you have to be sure of yourself and have faith in Krishna that he is always protecting you in order to take that step and become a leader in the Krishna consciousness movement, which everyone here has done today. Everyone has done that. When you go out on Harinam Sankirtan, you are being groomed as leaders of this movement.